This photo is interesting because he's looking right at the camera. The mystery murderer remains on the loose. Ammunition found near the executive's body had the words delay, deny, depose, mimicking a phrase that you might use in the law. We're also trying to make sure that these items are the same. Remember, the straps was a big component of the images that we were analyzing.
The mission of this company is truly to make sure that we help the system improve by helping the experience of individuals get better and better.
NYPD releases new photos of the CEO assassin. And this photo is interesting because he's looking right at the camera, almost like one of those scenes in a movie where they break the fourth wall and they're talking to somebody and they go, kind of has that vibe to it, right? And that was one image. This was another one that they released as he was getting in or out of a cab. And this is curious. These photos come after these two photos came out. And we were speculating that these photos were interesting because the jacket is clearly different than what the person who fired the shots on the day of the shooting was wearing. But this could have been just from a different day, and the shooter's wearing the same style, right? He's wearing jackets and hoodies everywhere he goes, with a face mask everywhere he goes. The day of the shooting just happened to be a different jacket, but the same person. Now, there's also more because they also found a backpack that he dropped, and the backpack was filled with Monopoly money. So that backpack that he threw in Central Park was filled with garbage, and the report tells us they have yet to confirm a motive, but he did leave behind a trail of overt clues. Getting weirder and weirder. The mystery murderer remains on the loose. Ammunition found near the executive's body had the words delay, deny, depose, mimicking a phrase that you might use in the law. Meanwhile, cops found Monopoly money inside the killer's backpack in Central Park. Online sleuths have dug into the message. The money must symbolize the monopoly money of healthcare. We sure this isn't Banksy art? The shooting has exposed mass discontent. A lot of people are doing weird stuff in the aftermath of a man's death. There was a strange assassin mock-up contest where everybody dressed up like the assassin and was like having this contest in New York because they're demonic people who like to celebrate in the murder of people, I guess. Here's the backpack. So they just threw it there. It's kind of amazing. Nobody else found it. It took the cops a few days, then they found it, and it's filled with Monopoly money. Like, it seems like an idiotic thing for a person who has so far gotten away with this. Seems like that would be like an obvious way to track him down. And if he's carrying this backpack around, he's got his DNA all over that thing. And if he's dropping a backpack to leave a point, they're going to forensically identify all that. So why would you give the government a giant cache of evidence? It seems pretty stupid. And we're also trying to make sure that these items are the same. We can't see the straps on that, but remember, the straps was a big component of the images that we were analyzing because we saw that there were different backpacks. We saw that here, this was a black strapped backpack, and that is a black looking backpack. And the FBI is now on this too. So the FBI has boosted the total amount of the reward. I think New York was offering $10,000. The FBI is now saying they want $50,000 for information leading to the arrest of this guy. So those three photos. But again, they're not including the photo from the actual shooting, which is the weirdest part of this whole thing. And remember that from NYPD News, we'll see that they have given us the original photo of the shooter. This was one set of pictures, and that backpack had the gray straps on it. So gray and gray, does that match the Central Park backpack that we just saw? Side by side of these backpacks, do they look the same? That backpack might be the same, but it's definitely not the same as the other one, which I had here. Definitely not this backpack, for sure. Not even close. In the aftermath of the murder, Americans flooded the internet with their own horror stories about healthcare. The Monopoly money may also be a nod, they say, towards fake money. In February, the DOJ moved to block United from acquiring Change Healthcare, $13 billion transaction. DOJ also and 4 attorney generals were filing antitrust lawsuits. And there's, of course, the shooting. There's the other photo. The attacker is believed to have used a rare World War II era-inspired 9mm handgun, which the New York Post reported was a Swiss-made Ruger & Tomet VP9. Ammunition near the body had the words on it. The killer fled the scene on an electric bike. Latest images of the killer appear to have been taken inside the taxi, which picked him up on 86 in Columbus 2 minutes after he left Central Park. So that's when he's fleeing. Retracing the gunman's steps using surveillance surveillance video, police say it appears he left the city by bus around 45 minutes after the shooting. Then he had been there since 2021, rushed to the hospital, declared dead. His wife and kids live in Minnesota. So wild stuff. Now, the new boss of UnitedHealthcare released a video. Somebody recorded it, and he's defending the company. And we were expecting to see more about this from United. They didn't really give us a nice farewell to their CEO. And here's what they said
I'm sure everybody
recently.
Has been disturbed by the amount of negative and in many cases vitriolic media and commentary that has been produced over the last few days, particularly in the social media environment. And I want to reassure you of a few things. Firstly, we are going to continue to make sure that we put patients, consumers, and members first, as we always have done. The mission of this company is truly to make sure that we help the system improve by helping the experience for individuals get better and better. There was nobody who did more to try and advance that mission than Brian Thompson. And there are very few people in the history of the US healthcare industry who had a bigger positive effect on American healthcare than Brian. And we are going to make sure that we not only acknowledge and honor that legacy of Brian, but we will continue it. Our role is a critical role, and we make sure that care is safe, appropriate, and is delivered when people need it. And we guard against the pressures that exist for unsafe care or for unnecessary care to be delivered in a way which makes the whole system too complex and ultimately unsustainable. So we're going to continue to make that case. We will continue to do the work we do. And I have never been more proud of this company and our colleagues and what this company does on behalf of people in need across the country. I encourage you to tune out that critical noise that we're hearing right now. It does not reflect reality. It is simply a sign of an era in which we live. What we must do is focus on what we know to be true. And what we know to be true is that the health system needs a company like UnitedHealth Group, and it needs people like Brian within it. We're fortunate that within this company, we have so many people driven and inspired in the same way that Brian was. And we will continue in our journey to help everybody who needs it within the health environment.
This is getting interesting because it's becoming a conversation about healthcare policy. And obviously, I think the country is pretty well unified that the healthcare policy of the country is a disaster, and that Obamacare, and I think largely what happens in these situations is you have the government that comes in and tries to commandeer the enterprise, the industry, and then the industry gets worse, and people are recoiling on that. Obama said that healthcare was going to get better and that more people's claims were going to be made and all these things. The insurance companies got bigger, the mandates became more pervasive, the dictatorial control of our health system became exacerbated once the government got more involved, right? And that's the problem that we are facing now. So there is no love for the healthcare companies, and especially after what they did to us during COVID. They are not beyond criticism, right? They're not beyond reproach. And what concerns me about this, and what concerns me a little bit about the backlash that we're seeing from like Taylor Lorenz and other people that are like, well, you know, maybe it's almost justified. I think it's kind of where she's going with that, is that I get worried about the backlash on this. So now, is the healthcare company going to demand censorship or going to demand misinformation or some sort of protection from online criticism or commentary? You know, that slope starts to develop pretty quickly when they start to, when any industry says that they really shouldn't be, you know, criticized. And I'm not saying that that's what that guy is saying per se. There's a lot of blending here. I think from his perspective, he's probably focused on their CEO got shot and killed, and, you know, they're an upstanding, righteous company. But the public at large is talking about what we've just been put through as a result of the government in collusion with the healthcare companies. And they all got very rich over COVID. We talked about it. We showed the stocks going up and to the right every single day. Now they're back going down and to the right now, but this is interesting how it's developing. Now, the evidence in the case is strange. It's a very strange thing. And when you start to see these anomalies, my mind goes towards there's a cover-up, there's an operation, there's some sort of narrative that they're trying to seed and create. And there's something about this photo and the way this person is standing and the way they comport themselves that feels a little different. This individual feels and looks like they're just moving and standing differently. We haven't even seen the footage. I'd like to see the video footage. I think you can really tell then. You see how somebody walks and even stands? It's like a unique identifying print like we saw in True Lies with Arnold Schwarzenegger. You can see how a person moves. Does this person have the same vibe, the same aura, the same movement as this person? I don't think so. So very curious. We'll keep our eye on it. Strange stuff happening out there. More photos coming out. NYPD's hopefully going to release more evidence. The FBI now on it. We'll see where it goes.